Finally, the season began for the Wisconsin Badgers on Friday night, a home matchup against the Illinois Fighting Illini, the first Big Ten game of this delayed 2020 season. We'll check out some of the highlights from Friday's first game. We'll hear from head coach Paul Chryst, and we'll also hear from some of the Badgers after the Friday night game with the Illini. All coming up on today's edition of the Badger Sports Report.
Two tied in alignment. Now they shift to an inverted wishbone. And a boot to the right. Mertz throwing end zone. Right side. Caught Jake Ferguson. Touchdown, Wisconsin. Number 5 on the night for number 5 for the Badgers.
First game, golly, kid can play. And he's in there cracking jokes. And we ran the same play like 4 times in a row. And he's just like, guess what it is, fellas? And we just went back to back. And it's good to see that he's got that confidence. And like I said, man, he's smooth for sure.
5 to shoot. Price off the wing. Hanging, feet spotted. Down the lane. Slam dunk. Counted. And a foul.
Badgers move from the field house to the Final 4.
Touchdown, Wisconsin. Kendrick Pryor.
Oh! White spot open. Caulfield.
The Badger Sports Report is built by Ford, a proud partner of Wisconsin athletics. By Hy-Vee, where there's a helpful smile in every aisle. Hy-Vee proudly supports the Wisconsin Badgers. And UW Health Sports Medicine, the healthcare team for the Badgers. Learn more at uwsportsmedicine.org.
When you've been injured, you need the hometown team on your side. Trust us to get you back in the game. Call Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices, proud partner of Wisconsin Badger Athletics. One call, that's all.
Because of this, we made Ford Super Duty the most capable heavy-duty pickup ever. Because of this, we built Ford F-150 with 375 horsepower and best-in-class payload.
Rescue 614 en route.
Because of this, we built Ford Ranger with the terrain management system. And because Ford trucks are built for this, you made Ford America's best-selling brand.
Some see a grilled cheese sandwich and ask why. I see a new kitchen with a grill and ask why not.
I really need to start adding less to cart and more to savings.
Sitting on this couch so long made me want to make some changes, starting with this couch.
Yeah, I need a house with a different view.
And this is the bank that will help you do it all. Because at U.S. Bank, our people are dedicated to turning your new inspiration into your next pursuit.
Really like your backyard, man.
There's nothing to the east, so I could do this all day.
No, Patrick. East is that way.
Oh man, that's not good.
With Hy-Vee Aisles Online, it's easy to order online and pick up everything you or your neighbors might need.
Sorry about your hot dogs. All right. It won't happen again.
Okay. Hy-Vee Aisles Online, convenient pickup, and we deliver too.
Injured? You need a team you can trust. Call Gruber Law Offices today, serving the people of Wisconsin for over 30 years. Gruber Law Offices, a proud partner of Wisconsin Badger Athletics. One call, that's all.
Two tied in alignment again. Arucci wing to the left. Play fake. Mertz looks, flips right side. And that is caught. Touchdown, Wisconsin. As Graham Mertz on his first series as a starting quarterback with a touchdown pass as the Badgers first on the board. Mertz to Mason Stockey. Two fullbacks in the formation. Mertz rolls off to his right, throws end zone, wide open. Jake Ferguson, touchdown Wisconsin. Second touchdown pass of the night for Graham Mertz. And the 52nd and 7, snap to Mertz. Illinois bring in 4. Mertz floats it deep left side for Ferguson. Dropped it in the bucket to Ferguson, who gathers it inside the 20 and down to the 16-yard line. Second down and 8. Snap to Mertz. Looks, sets, throws over the middle, end zone. It's caught by Ferguson. Touchdown, Wisconsin. Second time tonight, Mertz and Ferguson hook up for 6, and the third touchdown pass in what has been a perfect first half through the air for Graham Mertz. Mertz under his center, Caden Lyles, with the Badgers 47-yard line. Mertz takes, drops the throw, winds up, heaves it deep down the middle. Danny Davis got it! Touchdown, Wisconsin! Another perfect pass in a perfect half for Graham Mertz. 27-7, Wisconsin. John Chanel lines up at fullback. Nakia Watson, the tailback. Mason Stockey, wing on the right side. Stockey will motion to the left. Mertz will give it to John Chanel over the left side and into the end zone. Touchdown, Wisconsin.
In the end, I just want to get a W, and I'm most proud of that. I'm most proud of this team. I mean, this week of preparation was great for everybody. I felt like the O-line played great, and our playmakers just kept making plays. So for me, my expectations were to win the game, and exceeded my expectations, but I'm happy we won that.
He do it every day in practice. Nothing he did surprised me. Nothing he did was shocking. Everything he did was expected, and I already knew he was going to ball out today.
I think as a offense, we knew the day that when he stepped in that it was going to be a big change. So we all just accepted it, and then we spent that week and a half really grinding on communication and everything, and it showed tonight that everybody was on their A games.
I mean, there was so many good things that we did. Obviously, we pride ourselves on doing a good job on first down to get them backed up in the chains and that. And then, just from what I can tell, our D-line, I thought, dominated the game. And I thought they played amazing. And to just have them making plays like that means so much to our defense.
You've heard the saying, if it looks like bacon and it tastes like sausage, it's probably Johnsonville sausage strips. Oh, you never heard that? Well, sausage strips are pretty new. They're strips of sausage in amazing flavors like maple and chorizo. You can find this meaty miracle by the bacon, even though it's sausage.
Whoa.
Compeer Financial has always been there for our clients and communities in any situation. And our support continues today as our clients work relentlessly to feed, clothe, and fuel the world. Compeer is proud to continue our strong commitment to our clients, the rural communities where they live, and to agriculture. We're here to help meet the financial needs of rural America. And we'll navigate through this together.
First down for Illinois. They get it right back to it. Pistol formation. And the handoff goes to Mike Epstein. Fumbled the football. It's recovered by Noah Burks of Wisconsin. We have talked all night long about Illinois being the team to force mistakes, but the Badger defense knocks it out on the opening possession of the season.
Badgers now turn their attention to the first road trip of this season against Nebraska coming up this week, but we'll put a wraps on everything that led up to game one. And Paul, we all know you've talked about it. It's been a different camp, but you're able to develop some rhythm. How would the live work have varied, if at all, this camp leading up to the prep for game one? How would that have varied this year from past years?
Well, I think that it was we didn't do as much of it, and I think in a normal season you'd have probably for sure 2 real big scrimmage days, and then you'd probably have a couple more times in practice where you'd tackle for a segment of it, and kind of a combination this year with the length of the camp, and then also there's an inconsistency of of how many players you had available or when they were coming back, and so the depth kind of the roster, and even a lot of it with just young guys who maybe didn't impact, Friday night's game, but just in kind of their development, or some of those guys that you were kind of looking to see. They didn't get as much of that, but I think we were able to get enough practice where you felt they've done what they need to do to be ready for not just the first game, but for a season.
Is this a year now? You just mentioned that you had different days guys were available or not, and not just COVID related.
Right.
But would this be a year where the reps, like if you had your complement available, where the reps for the ones would remain the same compared to the 2s and 3s, or do you have to get those guys maybe a little more work just in case?
It kind of the way that it played out, you had a number of guys that got a lot of reps because you needed them too. I think there's times when maybe a guy that's not in position and won't be in position to play this year probably, but if he can do a good job, it allows, 15, 16, 20 other guys to get good reps. And I think we had some of that going on, and you're appreciative of guys that are able to know enough and do enough. And then you also find out about some guys that, boy, they keep getting some reps. And, I mean, I'm going to go back a ways, but that was Jared Aberderis. He's a guy that – so that's a way a lot of guys start kind of their career, like – all of a sudden, they're taking advantage of these reps. They're taking advantage. Boy, they're doing some good things. So we had a little bit of that going on. It wasn't as long a camp, and I remember back then in that example with Abby, that was something that he would do in spring. He showed up in spring, and then all of a sudden fall camp, and you said, this is real. But I think that this camp that we had, or this preseason practices that we had, you just didn't have the volume of players. And like you said, it wasn't all COVID.
Right.
And it was also just the volume of practice, because you knew that you had to, you couldn't just go 6 days in a row, 5 days in a row. You had to be smart on that. So it's I think the players managed it and handled it. And you're not just getting ready, like I said, for Friday night's game, but you're getting ready for a season, nine games with no bye.
This is a year where the NCAA put it out, the eligibility clock doesn't run this season, but then they put it on individual schools to make decisions moving forward. But in theory, does that give you and your staff some flexibility? It's like, okay, if someone plays a 5th game, it's okay. His class rank doesn't change. Does it give you a little bit of that this season?
I think it does give you that, but what I really believe on all of that is that each individual student athlete, yes, there's a eligibility, and we've got a couple that played some last year, but also were able to redshirt, play this year, and they could play every game this year, and they could be in their 3rd year, have played up to 14 games, and they could be a freshman, right? And a 3rd year freshman. My point is that the eligibility is one piece of it, but really, I think each individual has their own personal time clock. And I remember just talking to our guys going through it, and I think it ties into what is going on with school, and we've got a couple. Most of our seniors were set to graduate this fall. Now, some are interested in going to grad school. Others, maybe that wasn't in their plans. So I think that life will impact it more, and kind of their own clock will impact it as much, if not more, than what the NCAA eligibility says on how many years you have available.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's interesting with all the different ways you have to prepare. Obviously, this past week, no crowd at Camp Randall, but I know recently they piped in some crowd during a practice playing the music. How many guys are doing this? Like, the quarterbacks, like, everybody calm down a little bit.
The kids were actually they were kind of bringing that up, and it certainly was different Friday night, and yeah, I think there's a balance, right? Because there was a ton of excitement of just being able to get to play, and there is a competitive part of it that doesn't change, And I know some of the guys were talking about, when you play in a full stadium, eventually kind of the focus goes, I think you see the fans and you feel them initially, and then there's a lot of parts of the game where you're focused on what's happening on the field. And so I think, they talked about it was more after, kind of those moments where you can kind of look up and see, it's different. And I think that's something that we've all got to get used to, and yet we're also very grateful that we're playing.
Hey, it's interesting you say that, because Scott Tolzien mentioned that about a game probably 10 years ago or so, because he's obviously, as you know better than I, totally locked in. But after a big play, he said he gave himself a couple seconds to kind of take it in at Camp Randall. So, but yeah, player after player talks about a lot of times it's really pretty quiet to them because they're just focused on their job.
Yeah, it makes me feel good that Scotty actually would take any time, because that was
stunning, isn't it?
Yeah, because I was always worried about that, and I thought that was me maybe rubbing off on him, that you wouldn't take advantage. So I'm happy to hear that he actually did. He's probably talking about one time that he
I think once ever, right?
But you know what? He did it once.
Absolutely. One's better than none. Badgers on the road this week taking on Nebraska, and we'll have more as we continue with the Badger Sports Report.
If we build this, all the legendary players will magically appear, and we'll have sports again. I call it the Field of Fame. Of course, I'll have to tear down the garage, fill in the pool, and lose the trees. So can I get a loan?
So as your friend, I love it, but as your banker, not so much.
Let me talk to the friend.
You could always invest in a college fund.
No, my kids aren't going to college. They're going to work at the stadium.
Our kids are going to college. Sports are back.
My wife wants to build a college.
And not a moment too soon. You've heard the saying, if it looks like bacon and it tastes like sausage, it's probably Johnsonville sausage strips. Oh, you never heard that? Well, sausage strips are pretty new. They're strips of sausage in amazing flavors like maple and chorizo. You can find this meaty miracle by the bacon, even though it's sausage.
Whoa. Joined now by Badgers senior safety Colin Wilder out of Katy, Texas, getting ready for his second year on the field with the Badgers. Started his college career at Houston. Let's just get fans caught up with your story. I know you got hurt in 2017 after a couple of games, but if I'm right here at Houston, you played special teams mostly. So just getting on the field and playing defense week in and week out. How long did that take for you to really feel comfortable, like you had a full grip on what Coach Leonard wanted everybody to do on that side of the ball?
Yeah, it took a little bit. Took some time, but really, I mean, that first game when we played South Florida, I kind of started to get some minutes later on in the game. And still at that point, I mean, I was playing some special teams plays, but on defensively, I started to get some playing time later on in the game. And in my mind, I'm just thinking, can I still play at this level? Can I, play at a high level like I know I can? The whole matter of it was just putting it out there on the field and putting it out on film. And getting that interception in that game, from then on, I was like, okay, I can play at this level. I can be the player that I know I can be.
Coach has talked a lot, Coach Leonard, about the defense has been good for several years now, and especially so under his direction, that one of the strengths of the defense is its flexibility. I mean, you have to prepare for so many different kinds of offenses. How much of a challenge is that to really get a grip? Because players in the past have said, as complicated as it might appear, he can make it simple. He does a good job of simplifying it. Can you help explain that so the rest of us maybe can understand what you guys need to be able to do intellectually to be in line defensively?
Yeah. I mean, Coach Leonard, such a smart coach, such a smart guy, just personally as well. But when it comes to the game plan, we have a lot of plays that, we can do a lot off of those plays that Coach Leonard makes for us. But when it comes to to game time, to start scheming up teams, he makes those plays a lot more simplified. So, if it's just to help us with our eyes or to help us you have one job this play instead of having 3 or 4, depending on what the play is, he makes it, you just have one job. That way you can play fast, you can play physical. Because at the end of the day, by game day, he wants us to play as fast as possible. So when he simplifies things, he just makes the job into 1 or 2 that you can do in that play instead of 3 or 4. Coach Leonard's really smart that way. Obviously, the work speaks for itself.
And the last topic here, non-football related. I know people in my line of work, if they're writers or broadcasters, they ask you a lot about a young girl that you become friends with, Aubrey Wayman. In the COVID world we're in, I think people who are familiar with you a little bit are wondering how is she doing? Have you been able to still kind of keep in touch virtually at least?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you asking that. Aubrey's doing really well. I've talked to her several times during quarantine, and her birthday was actually not too long ago, and they invited me to her party, but due to the circumstances, I really appreciated it, but I just wanted to make sure that she stays safe. I just FaceTimed her that day, and it was good to talk to her, but her last treatment, I believe, is sometime in early to mid-December, and then she'll be done. She'll be done with her treatment. So they invited me to have a celebration for that, but I believe it's like the night before a game or something like that, so I wouldn't be able to make that. But she's doing really well, though. It sounds like there's a lot of good things to look forward to for her, and to where she can finally close this book of such a difficult time for her that's prolonged for a very long time now for her. So, no, she's doing really well. I'm really happy for her, and obviously I wish I could see her right now and celebrate those things with her. But we're all making sacrifices during these times.
Boy, in a year where there's been so much bad news, that hearing that is going to lift up a lot of people. How old is she now? Is she like 12, 13?
I believe she turned 12. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah, so she's getting a lot older now. She's growing up and just getting more creative with her. She sends me like YouTube videos that she makes with music, and you can just tell, just how creative she's gotten during quarantine as well. It's really good just to be in touch with her still throughout these tough times, and obviously great news that her treatment's going to be over with soon.
It's one of those things about athletics that I know you and so many of your teammates and the student athletes of Wisconsin, you love the games and the glory of the games, but just having a platform, the opportunity to meet people like Aubrey, I think people realize with you were all in from the very beginning. That's kind of how it works though in that locker room, right? You guys get a lot out of that when you get to meet.
Absolutely. And I think our time with football, we don't know how long you're going to be able to have this platform. We might have it for 10 more years from now. This might be my last year to have this type of platform. You just don't know, because that's just how football is. So you want to take advantage of it as much as you can, because the reality of it is you have kids will look up to me now wearing this uniform a whole lot more than when I'm not wearing it. So this is a great opportunity to really make a difference in some kids' lives, especially the younger generation who looks up to Wisconsin football players like us. So yeah, it's a great opportunity to use it.
I appreciate your time. Appreciate you spreading some good news there with Aubrey too. That's great to hear.
Yeah, no, thank you for asking. I really appreciate that.
All right, that is Colin Wilder, safety for the Wisconsin Badgers. Stay with us. More to come as the Badger Sports Report continues.
Really like your backyard, man.
There's nothing to the east, so I could do this all day.
No, Patrick. East is that way.
Oh, man, that's not good.
With Hy-Vee Aisles Online, it's easy to order online and pick up everything you or your neighbors might need.
Sorry about your hot dogs. All right. It won't happen again.
Okay.
Hy-Vee Aisles Online, convenient pickup, and we deliver too.
It's back. The return of the prestigious Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, honoring college sports excellence across all competitive divisions, both men's and women's sports. Follow along with L Directors Cup on Twitter or online to see which schools will be taking home a first place trophy in June for their season-long success. Learfield IMG College Directors Cup, a premier institutional award jointly launched in 1993 by USA Today and NACDA.
The Badger Sports Report is built by Ford, a proud partner of Wisconsin athletics. By Hy-Vee, where there's a helpful smile in every aisle. Hy-Vee proudly supports the Wisconsin Badgers. And UW Health Sports Medicine, the healthcare team for the Badgers. Learn more at uwsportsmedicine.org.
Game 1 is in the books, and now the first road trip. They'll check that box this weekend as the Badgers make the trip down to Lincoln, Nebraska to take on the Huskers. Join us next week when we look back at Game 2 and get you ready for Game number 3. Thanks for watching.
Because of this, we made Ford Super Duty the most capable heavy-duty pickup ever. Because of this, we built Ford F-150 with 375 horsepower and best-in-class payload.
Rescue 614 en route.
Because of this, we built Ford Ranger with the terrain management system. And because Ford trucks are built for this, you made Ford America's best-selling brand.
Compeer Financial has always been there for our clients and communities in any situation. And our support continues today as our clients work relentlessly to feed, clothe, and fuel the world. Compeer is proud to continue our strong commitment to our clients, the rural communities where they live, and to agriculture. We're here to help meet the financial needs of rural America. And we'll navigate through this together.
You can try, but you'll never stop a Badger. Because we Badgers are born with curious minds and endless heart. When we see a curve in the road, we speed up. When there are mask shortages for first responders, we make our own supply chain. When there's a world on pause, we sharpen our claws. Through thunder, fire, and pandemics, we'll keep going. Because after all, you can't stop a Badger.